Right now, you're moving at over 1,600 kilometers per hour. You can't feel it. You don't hear it. You don't even notice it. But every second of your life, the Earth is spinning beneath your feet. Now imagine that. In the next second, it simply stopped. No warning, no slowing down. Just complete stop. What would happen next wouldn't just be the biggest disaster in human history. It would erase entire cities before most people even realized what had happened. And the terrifying part, the ground beneath you wouldn't be the thing moving. Welcome back to Space Chronicles, where we explore the biggest mysteries and most terrifying possibilities of our universe. Today, we're asking one impossible question. What if Earth suddenly stopped spinning? Scientists agree this could never naturally happen. But if it did, let's find out. Most people think the Earth is standing still, but it isn't. At this very moment, our planet is spinning beneath your feet. Every 24 hours, it completes one full rotation, and it has been doing that every single day for more than 4.5 billion years. If you're standing near the equator, you're traveling at roughly 1,670 kilometers per hour. That's faster than many commercial airplanes, yet somehow, it feels like you're standing perfectly still. The reason is surprisingly simple. Everything around you, the ground beneath your feet, the oceans, the atmosphere, the buildings, the trees, and even your own body, are all moving at exactly the same speed. Think about sitting inside a smooth-moving airplane. Once the plane reaches cruising altitude, you barely notice its speed. You can walk down the aisle, pour yourself a drink, or look out the window, because everything inside the cabin is moving together. Earth works exactly the same way. Every mountain, every city, every river, every ocean, and every living thing shares the same motion, which is why the planet feels completely still. Until the impossible happens. In a single instant, that motion suddenly ends. Imagine someone instantly slamming the brakes on an object spinning at more than 1,600 kilometers per hour. That's almost impossible to imagine. But that's exactly what would happen if the Earth suddenly stopped spinning. The planet would stop. But you wouldn't. Neither would your car. Neither would the buildings around you. The oceans wouldn't stop. And even the atmosphere above your head would continue moving. That's because motion doesn't simply disappear. Every person, every tree, every building, every airplane, and every drop of water would still be traveling at the same incredible speed they had just 1 second earlier. To anyone standing on the surface, it would feel as if the entire world had exploded beneath their feet. Cars would become deadly projectiles. Buildings would begin to collapse. Glass, steel, and concrete would be thrown across cities with terrifying force. Within just a few seconds, entire neighborhoods could be reduced to rubble. For anyone living near the equator, survival would be incredibly unlikely. The first moments after the Earth stopped spinning would be so violent that most people wouldn't even have time to understand what was happening. And just when it seems like the worst is over, the atmosphere itself would become humanity's next nightmare. But the ground wouldn't be the only thing affected. The atmosphere would keep moving. Right now, the air around you is traveling with the Earth's rotation. If the planet suddenly stopped, the atmosphere wouldn't stop with it. Instead, it would continue racing across the surface at more than 1,600 kilometers per hour. Imagine the most powerful hurricane ever recorded. Then imagine something even stronger. Winds moving faster than many commercial airplanes would sweep across the planet. Entire cities would be hit by a wall of air moving at unimaginable speed. Buildings would be torn apart. Roofs would be ripped from homes. Trees that had stood for hundreds of years would be uprooted in seconds. Cars would be lifted from the ground and hurled through the air like toys. Glass, steel, concrete. Every loose object would become a deadly projectile. The sky would turn dark with dust and debris. Breathing would become almost impossible. Entire forests could disappear within minutes. Cities that took centuries to build could be reduced to ruins in only a few moments. Even airplanes flying thousands of meters above the Earth wouldn't be safe. The violent atmosphere would make controlled flight almost impossible. But as terrifying as these winds would be, they still wouldn't be the worst part. Because next, the oceans would begin to move. And what happened after that would change the face of our planet forever. The oceans wouldn't stop with the Earth. Trillions of tons of water would still be moving at incredible speed. With nothing to slow them down, they would surge across the planet with unimaginable force. At first, the sea would begin pulling away from the coastline. Beaches would stretch farther than anyone had ever seen. Fishing boats would be left stranded on the ocean floor. Many people might even walk out onto the exposed seabed, completely unaware of what was coming. Then, the horizon would begin to disappear, not because of fog, but because a gigantic wall of water would be rising into the sky. These wouldn't be ordinary tsunamis. They could be hundreds of meters tall, traveling faster than a speeding train. Entire coastal cities would disappear beneath the waves. Ports, bridges, airports. Everything near the shoreline would be swept away. The power of the oceans would reshape coastlines across the world. Maps that had existed for centuries would no longer be accurate. Millions of people could lose their lives in just a matter of hours. But even after the oceans settled, Earth's nightmare still wouldn't be over. If anyone somehow survived the first few hours, they would wake up on a completely different planet. Earth, as we know it, would no longer exist. Today, our planet rotates once every 24 hours. That's what gives us day and night. But if the Earth stopped spinning forever, one side of the planet would always face the sun. The other side would remain in endless darkness, on the side facing the sun. Temperatures could become so extreme that rivers would dry up, crops would fail, and many regions could become too hot for human life. On the opposite side, the darkness would never end. Temperatures would continue falling until vast regions became frozen wastelands. Oceans could begin freezing from the surface. Snow and ice would cover entire continents. Between these two extremes, there might be a narrow strip where temperatures remained just right for life. It could become humanity's last refuge. But surviving there would still be incredibly difficult. Earth's weather, climate, agriculture, and ecosystems would never recover. The planet that gave birth to civilization would become almost unrecognizable. Thankfully, this is only a thought experiment. Scientists say the Earth cannot suddenly stop spinning like this under normal conditions, but it reminds us of something extraordinary. Our entire civilization depends on invisible forces that we rarely stop to think about. Every sunrise, every sunset, every gentle breeze, and every single day of our lives exists because our planet has continued spinning for billions of years. We live on a world that's constantly moving through space, yet, somehow, it feels perfectly still. If you enjoyed exploring one of the most terrifying scientific what-if scenarios ever imagined, make sure you subscribe to Space Chronicles, because our universe is filled with mysteries, and we've only just begun to uncover them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next journey through space.